This is UMAR AHMED for IFL TV in association with MTK Global. I'm joined by Leon McKenzie at 12x3 Gym in Aldgate East. How have you been, Leon?
I'm good, mate. Thank you very much. Just back in the gym today. Had a load of classes today. And fantastic to be part of, you know, being associated with a Commonwealth champion now as a trainer.
Well, let's start with that. On the weekend, as you said, you got a new Commonwealth champ, Philip Bowes. Yeah, just reaction to that sort
of. I've known Phil for a few years, and I've known the hardship. I've known the opportunities that has been brought his way, and unfortunately, for whatever reason, sometimes it's not the right time. He's called me a few times to say, "Look, Lee, I'd love you to come on board and influence what I'm doing, but just be a part of it and help me." And because he came in that fashion, in a sincere manner, I was like, you know what, I'm going to do that. For the past sort of 6 weeks or so before this last fight, we just got a structure, you know, and that's me helping Barry Smith, just because he's got so much ability anyway. It was just about tweaking certain little areas where I know that he can improve. And that's from a fitness point of view. I had to beast him a few times, and you know, it meant going to the track and doing certain things that he wasn't, I'd say, used to doing for all the time he's been in boxing. It'd be true to himself and say, you know what, these things I've needed more, and I wanted to put that into his boxing regime from a training point of view and give my best to him. And you know what, the round 2 stoppage or knockout, whatever you want to call it, was fantastic. The way he calculated, the way he's looked, I'd say it's a good Phil Bowes that we're seeing right now. And you know, I feel like the best is still yet to come. We're going to look at a potential next fight, potentially to defend it. There's been a name brought to us already. Not an issue to take the fight. So we're going to look into that. I'm going to sit down with the team. And we're going to try and make the best for Phil now, because it's all about, you know, he's not a young man as such as anymore. So we want to try and make the best moves and do the best we can for him.
Can you reveal that name?
Yeah, I think Tom Farrell. Is it Tom Farrell? Is it Tom Farrell? Yeah. Tom Farrell.
That's the name.
Tom Farrell. Yeah, I believe that's the name, Tom Farrell. O'Hara Davis beat him. Is that correct? Yeah. Yeah, I feel if that fight's been offered to us, then that's a fight that we wouldn't be scared to kind of like step forward and take that.
But you know, with the Commonwealth title now under his hands, big fights are inevitably going to be out there, and titles further down the line as well.
Oh, totally. Again, every fight now is such an important fight. It's you know, he's got what he wanted to achieve, and you know, to win a Commonwealth title is great in itself anyway. And I'm really happy to be a part of that as a trainer and to help and you know, just push on now and try and defend it and structure everything the best way possible.
Is it just currently Phil you're working with in terms of professionals?
Yeah, it is now. You know what? Sometimes the best way for putting your energy into ones that believe in you, and then you can get better results in the end.
Well, I think obviously you're referring to John Arden Jr. We'll come on to that later. I've got a lot to discuss with you. Just take yourself back when you was a footballer. I don't know the exact story that you went through in terms of your depression, mental health situation. Explain how that all occurred, because from the outside, as a pro footballer, you've got everything. You've got the money, the fame, whatever. Life's good for you. But you obviously, it wasn't still enough for you. There was something going on deeper in your life. Just sort of elaborate on that.
Well, listen, I mean, to really elaborate, I'd have to sit with you for a little while.
Let's do that.
I mean, to go back to it can all stem from, if you go back to childhood, to things that you've seen at a young age, to then mold you into your own kind of, I guess, becoming an adult and seeing things that happen in your own life and not dealing with things or coping with things properly. Football gave me 18 years at a top level. From a professional point of view, I gave my all. Anyone that had seen me play knew that I'd given my all every time I played. I was an explosive player and I gave 100% every time. A team player in itself. And I think where a lot of things happen, and what people don't realise is that things can happen outside of what you do in your job. Mine was professional football. Yes, I was earning a lot of money, but at the same time, when you go through things and, like, you know, you get a call when you're on your way to training one day and you get a call from your mum saying, like, you know what, sis has took her life, she's not here anymore at 24 years old, that's pretty hard to take. But not knowing and understanding the whole mental health of things then, because we're going way, way back, you bottle things up. And I did that a lot. And I went on to, you know, I went to training. I went to, you know, continue to put my focus into football and my focus in everything that I tried to achieve. And I achieved so much considering the injuries and everything that I had. Sometimes life can't prepare us for what is going to be set out for us. You know, sometimes we can't cope with certain things that are set out for us in our life, to make that more clear. And as things went on, you experienced more other things. I experienced divorce a few times. You know, I miss my children a lot. You know, some of it being my own choices that I've made that have not been correct. And you know what? Some not. Some things are just out of our control. At the same time, when I was going through my injuries and the psychological damage that it was doing to me as an athlete, if you can imagine, you love something so much and you've done this all your life, and then it's like just getting taken away from you. Little by little, it's getting taken away from you. And you can't handle that. Psychologically can't handle that. And I got to a stage where I was getting so many injuries where I just couldn't cope. I couldn't cope with the psychological battle of, you know, trying to, you know, and it wasn't just little injuries I was getting, it was serious injuries I was getting. Yeah, a lot of it, I've had a few career-ending injuries and I've always come back and fought. But the problem with that is when you start having your career-ending injuries, your biomechanics change and your body changes and you've got to adapt certain ways you run and you've got to adapt the way you move. And I didn't have that explosive sprint anymore and I had to be more of a powerful sort of runner, and all these little things I had to change just to, you know, mould into a new player. So all these are your things that you're dealing with. People sometimes look at well, look at how much money he's earning, blah, blah, blah. But they don't see my tears when I go home and shut my door. They don't see those tears. And then it got to a point where, you know, I had one more injury at Charlton where I tried to give my all. And my body kept breaking down. And you know what? One day, my mind just shut down. And I tried to end it all. Lucky to be speaking to you now. Do you know what I mean? And that's the realist elaboration I can put around what this is about, why I do what I do, why I speak all over the UK now to push out mental health awareness. Because depression has been a massive part of my life, but now I know how to cope with it, but at the same time know what to do with what I'm doing. And speaking is one of the best forms of healing in itself anyway. So I'll really try and inspire people who are not doing so great and try and move on to, you know, the next chapter and things. And obviously went into a boxing ring because things got harder for me. See, what no one really understands is that when I went to a professional boxing ring at the age of 35, things got harder for me. Life got harder. I went through my second divorce. I pretty much lost everything. And I'm not saying this to, you know what, everyone feels sorry for me. You know, people say, well, you know what, you did this, you did that, blah, blah. Yeah, great, granted. I hold my hands up, tick on the chin. Yeah, went prison, came out. I get that. Great. At the same time, you know what? When you're in a position of, and you maybe take things for granted for, you know, football, 18 years and going through that pattern of, you know, that consistency, you know, when that breaks down and you maybe not, you don't maybe plan what's next. Do you know what I mean? Or you're not prepared for what's next. Then you do psychologically break down. And when I went into a professional boxing ring, and it's not for anyone to feel sorry for me, but I had to start my life again. And that's the God's honest truth. To the point of I said to my dad one day, I went to the gym, I said to him, Dad, like, I don't want to be in a position where I end up trying to check out again. Like, I give up on life. I can't give up on life again. My kids are my world to me. My children are my life. And I had to jump in that ring. And yes, I wanted to win. Yes, I wanted to win a belt or whatever it is. And I wanted to do everything I could to succeed, because sometimes you get those doubters that always got something negative to say. So it wasn't necessarily about that. It was more for my own journey. Stepping into that ring was me literally fighting back in life. And I had to do that. And little did I know that I would be winning an international masters title, fighting for English title, fighting for Southern area titles. And no disrespect, at the age of 39, I'm fighting people that are very established in this game. And, you know, I held my own. And that's why in my last fight, where I can walk away from the sport that I love and still love, but I can walk away because of the simple fact I put my heart and soul into that fight. I gave my everything. And I collapsed in round 9 for the simple reason of I had nothing left. So when I retired the next day, I'd left everything in the ring. That's what my life is about. And that's what I go on to do, whatever I do, whether I'm speaking to try and inspire people, to try and give people hope, whether I'm coaching. My energy is what it is, and you can't change that. I believe I'm a fighter. I'm from a respected fighting family, and that holds value.
You mentioned you're sort of a motivational speaker now. You go around the country giving speeches. So you're, in a sense, a kind of role model for people struggling with mental health. But is there days that you still struggle? I know you've overcome it, but like for today, does something pop in your head, for example? Do you still struggle with stuff?
I would be lying to you now. And one of the things that I speak about in one of my talks is a lot of us pretend. And I pretended for a long time, to the point of I was a fantastic actor. So I would come into training and be like the life and soul of the party, you know what I mean? I'd be bubbly and jokey, and I'd go home and I'd be different. Sometimes, like now, I'm 41 this year, and I just keep everything honest to myself and real. So some days, yes, I still sometimes have a struggle with certain things. And that might be in people. That might be I struggle to understand certain things. I might wake up and miss my children. Whatever it is, we all have triggers. And again, we all deal with things differently. So, yes, depression is a part of my life. And some days I can wake up and I can look up into the sky, and I look up at my ceiling in my room, and I'll be like, geez, like, I'm struggling today. But there'll be a part of that day now where I'm like, you know what, I have to do something productive. And I think the last time I had that bout was probably a few months ago, and I weren't feeling great. And I don't know why. Lots of things can sometimes trigger you. And it wasn't a good day. And I thought, you know what, like, I have to get up. Like, I need to do something. Because sometimes it can put you in a crippling position where you find it hard to get up. And it's not because you're weak. It's not because you're lazy. It's because your brain is shutting down in certain areas that you can't control. So what I did have to do is I went for a run that day. And that was the only productive thing that I did do. But I did something to help my day. So no matter what you try and do in your day, it might start off rubbish, but you've got a rest of the day to try and change it. So it's all about changing your thought process and trying to make yourself succeed in that particular day. And then tomorrow's another day. So we can always change that thought process in how we're actually feeling initially.
That's a good bit of advice. Try and do something, at least one thing productive per day. But another thing I just want to touch upon is, you know how you said you'd come into work or wherever it would be and you'd be happy, cracking jokes, and then you'd go and be a completely different person. Can the fact that change happen so quickly. Does that play on your mind as well? Can that be an issue in itself? The fact that you've got two sort of different characters?
That's a good question. Subconsciously, yeah. I think subconsciously, me knowing when I used to get back into my car and I used to drive home, especially when I was going through that injury kind of situation where I just wasn't coping too well with life. And to go home, some of them drives were the longest drives home. The last drive I had like that was when I was staying at a hotel in Bexley Heath and I was paying for Charlton at the time. And I drove back from Charlton after pulling my hamstring once again in, you know, which I'd say was probably my last sort of time at Charlton, really. And the last, that drive was the longest drive home because something I'd already planned in my head is that I don't want to be here anymore. I don't want to exist anymore. And it's very sad when you get to that stage. And in me doing that, you know, I called my mum that particular day and I said, Mum, I was crying like a baby, you know what I mean? I burst into tears and I was like, Mum, I just can't cope anymore. I'm going to have to retire, you know? I think I'm going to have to just call it a day. But little did she know that I was in that headspace of not wanting to be here anymore. So my fight now is every day trying to be a better me, trying to improve in everything I do, and trying to fight on the days that I feel like I can't fight, I fight back, and bringing a positivity to those that really don't have an understanding of what this is really all about. Those that just see what goes on or see the lights or see the TV things and, you know, all the nicey stuff, but they never really know what's going on behind closed doors. And it's just to give an understanding and awareness to those that are really sort of struggling to come to terms with maybe the position that they're in, but at the same time, how they move forward.
Do you think social media is a problem as well? Because all we see on social media is the good side of our lives. Yes. But we never see someone posting when they've had a bad day, etc., very rarely.
Well, I've tried to be as honest as I can with that, and there's been times where you might have seen yourself where I've come on social media and I've said, you know what, I've had a bad day. I've had like, you know, I'm not doing well today. I put it out there for the simple reason. It's like, yeah, okay, you know, I'm Dillion McKENZIE and yeah, I've got a little bit of profile. But you know what? There's other people that maybe don't have profiles and that are doing sort of normal sort of jobs. We're all human beings. So just because I am in the profile I shouldn't be judged in the respect of if I'm having a bad day. Because if someone down the road that is in a normal sort of job and comes on their social network and express how I'm having a bad day or whatever it is, then everything should still be respected. It is what it is. I never come on to say what I say to receive sympathy votes. I express that because I know this one message might help that one message that hasn't been brave enough to say or go and speak to a loved one. Do you understand? Like sometimes people don't know how to socialize with social network anyway. So, you know what I mean? It's like you take it for what it is. I use my profile to really and truly like inspire and do everything I can. If you see my posts and everything, I always try and be positive as I can. That's from my heart.
Someone else who's become an ambassador, role model, whatever you like, for sort of mental health issues is big Tyson Fury. What have you made of his journey and especially the comeback he's had in the fight with Wilder, etc.?
I think he's a fantastic individual, a special individual to understand his journey at the same time because I understand it because I've had my own. For him to come back the way he did in the fashion that he did it, being, you know, written off and overweight and going through his own issues and people writing him off, and to come back and beat, because that's what he truly did, beat Deontay. You know, sometimes it speaks for itself of what he is showing and what he's trying to do. And there is a change in him in the respect of where he's trying to be positive and push things out in a positive way, because he's not always been positive. he's always been quite controversial, and you know, not a lot of people are fans of Tyson Fury because of his maybe background and the foundations that he has, and maybe he's not always been as educated to maybe put that across in the right manner, right? But doesn't mean he's stupid. This guy's a very intelligent man to the respect of, you know, not only is he IQ in boxing fantastic, but at the same time, I think he's very brave to be standing where he's standing and to put across how he's put things across, to be brutally honest with his position. Commendable.
What did you make of the fact when the scores got announced at the end of the fight and he kept really calm? I think the old Tyson Fury might have kicked off a bit and caused the ruckus, but have we seen that change in Fury now?
I think because there's a calmness in how he responded, because he truly knew he won. And when I say he truly knew he won, even from stepping into the ring in the first place, he already won. So it was even better with the result, because I wasn't sure what Tyson Fury would, being out the ring for so long. Is it going to be, is there going to be serious ring rust? Is he going to be able to dance for a while? I was shocked of the way he boxed that particular night. And I still feel like, you know, he's in such a better place now. We could see even better Tyson Fury next time round. Because he's in it. He believes. When you got someone that believes, it's a dangerous person. In like really believes, you know. And you know, he puts God first in a lot of things he does. So maybe that's helping.
Scary how sort of that was probably 60-70% of Tyson at his best, and first major fight with Ben Davison as well. He's done an incredible job too, Ben Davison.
I'll tell you something about Ben Davison as well. I've known him for a little while as well, because when he was just coming through, he was one of the people that called me to go and spar with Billy Joe Saunders at the time, and he was sort of, you know, he was around and he was helping out. And he's gone on to show again what he does know about coach. He's very, very knowledgeable in how his style is and what he tries to articulate to fighters. I've seen him coach different fighters. I've watched him at the gym, and I've seen him lay things down and break things down and say why he's doing this and why is a certain person moving this way and can you change this? Can you do that? He coaches well. So it does not surprise me of where his levels are at now. And, you know, I really wish him all the best to go on and get someone that comes maybe after Tyson and do the same sort of thing.
I know for a fact a few quite high-profile fighters approached him. I can't go into the names. But anyways, let's talk about another heavyweight, someone you know quite well, Dillion White. Yeah. Talks of him possibly moving to another promoter. He's described offers as ridiculous from Anthony Joshua. What have you made of the whole situation? And do you think he warrants what he says that is his value, a higher value basically, for the Joshua fight?
Well, I don't know what the value has been put on to what's been agreed with the actual percentage on what Joshua's getting, what Dillion's getting. What I do know is 100%, and rightly so, this man deserves the shot. You cannot, the way he's fought back from the Anthony Joshua loss since that particular day has been spot on, and they have not been easy fights. If you look on the CV, he's tested every, do you know what I mean? Every level of like, okay, you know, there's no like easy fights for him, and he's dealt with them accordingly. And on the last situation, that could have been, you know, horribly wrong. And he pulled it out, and it was another fantastic fight, and he pulled it out with a fantastic knockout. I think he's in a position of I feel like, you know what, sometimes, for whatever reason, sometimes the timing is just not there. And sometimes politics can get in the way of that. And I just feel like, how can you not come to some agreement and make a fight happen that is suitable for Dillion White after everything that he has put in front of us? I think it's probably quite discouraging for him, but at the same time, he's in a strong position, because at some point, at some where he's going to fight. The only problem that Dillion has is that how long it's going to be till he gets that fight, because that is what he's waiting for. How long is it going to be till he gets that fight? And you know what? As time goes on, that can be an issue as well.
I think Dominic Brazil is the favourite for the next fight for Dillion White, April 20th, being talked about. So obviously, if he wins that, he'll be mandated for the WBC. That should be a final eliminator.
That's a respectable fight. You know what? You know that's a respectable fight. So Brazil is a credible opponent. Again, though, you know, again, it's not an easy fight. So Dillion's putting every card on the table. And there's still vulnerability there where, you know, if the touch wood, it doesn't go his way. Do you know what I mean? Then that way it's like, well, what happens then? You know, percentage-wise and all that then, is there still going to be the talks? Is he still going to get his opportunity? Probably not.
Well, I think news is going to be clearer. I think Joshua's fight, potentially with Miller, is going to be announced this week. And same with Dillion. And Wilder Fury probably be announced this week as well. Just moving on. I touched upon John Harding Jr. Obviously, used to train him. You split now. Just sort of explain what's happened there.
I'll just break it down to simplify everything. I received a text from John to say, "Hi Lee, hope you're well. I'm going to be moving to another trainer. With doing that, I believe it's the right thing for me, closer to home and so forth, and everything that comes with it. Thank you for everything you've done for me. I appreciate everything you've done. Messaging back, John, no problem, cool. No problem at all. That's fine. And I don't really want to go into what happened next. What happened next, to just kind of cut it down a little bit, I then thought, you know what, in a professional manner, because I felt I did that. You saw the tweet yourself and on my Instagram post. So I put up, received a text from John. He's going to be going to another trainer, but you know what? I wish him all the best, and I hope he achieves everything he wants to in the next chapter. God bless. Full stop. Official. Unfortunately, this is where social network can sometimes be a little bit misinterpreted, because where I was coming from, it wasn't from a bad place. I've wished him all the best, and I hope that you can go on to do what you do and so forth, right? Unfortunately, it's been interpreted in a manner of where he felt like he took it from another way. He then felt that because of that, and he felt like, for whatever reason, he took it upon himself to give me a call, and I'm not going to go into that conversation. But let's just say I will leave that with him, how that conversation went. And do you know what? Even still now, I've now deleted the post because I'm not really asked with, you know, all that anyway, in the respect of if it's going to cause so much discomfort, it's not a problem for me to delete it. That's fine, right? So that's gone now. But what I was doing was just making it official, because I'm not training him anymore. That's all I was really doing in the first place. So do you know what now? All the best. I wish you all the best. Thanks for the nice little moments. And I hope you go on to do things that you would like to achieve in your career. And I wish you all the best. Next question.
Fair enough. Appreciate you going into it as well, as much as you could. Now, I know you're working on a documentary. Can you talk about that at all?
Yeah, I'd love to talk about it, but you probably know more than me at the moment. It's so political, but so amazing, which is going to be, you know, hopefully be done this year. Some fantastic things happening in this particular documentary film that I've done, and you know, it's potentially going into a TV series at the moment. So we're in talks with Netflix from the distribution point of view for that to go on to make things happen. And you know what? Great. You know, I just can't wait for it to happen. Excited, but a lot of it's out of my hands.
Well, I've seen the intro, not the intro, but parts of it, and it looks brilliant.
Yeah, so if, you know, God willing this happens, it will be my biggest achievement, more than I feel like what I've ever really achieved in both my careers, for the simple reason of it saving lives, and it will touch people, and that's why I hope it can get out. So, redeeming features, my team, please step it up.
Talked about achievements there in life. This is another question I wanted to ask you. How does it compare working as a trainer? Just picking this up back with Leon. Yeah. How does it compare working as a trainer rather than a competitive point of view where you're playing football or boxing?
I guess it doesn't really give you I mean, you can never beat competing. I can't beat scoring a goal, and I can't beat beating someone convincingly in a fight. What I can do is accept what I have achieved and accept the position that I have now with the CV that's behind me and the DNA that's behind me as well with my family. I believe that I offer a lot in regards with a coaching point of view. So everyone sees me as a baby coach, but in all fairness, I have a Commonwealth champion on my books now. And that's the reality, regardless of what anyone's got to say. And John Harding Jr., with the first fight that I had with him, he stopped his opponent in the first ever stoppage he had. So along the way, I'm giving my all and putting my all into areas where I feel like I can be a big factor in what, you know, helping people achieve what they want to achieve from a psychology point of view, from a man management point of view, from an education point of view, from a life after boxing point of view. Like, I'm able to transition that. I'm able to try and get that across and help. And that's not all I'm doing. I can't have loads of fighters and have a big camp because of everything else that I do. And I'm not prepared to have like 5-6 fighters, and I can't give them the time daily and whatever it is that they need when I'm still trying to achieve other things in different areas. But 1 or 2, 100%.
Do you struggle though? Obviously you played in 2 competitive sports, high level. Do you sort of miss that, and does it get to you sometimes?
Listen, sometimes I want to put on my gloves again. Sometimes I'd love to put on my boots again and do what I do. But there's always reality in it. And I'm 41 this year. And there's always a point where, and I think most boxers do this, where you have to accept your position. You have to accept what you've done, what you've achieved, exactly that. And when you accept that and you achieve anyway, and he achieved loads, you can walk away from it because you know you've put your all into that. Now it's about moving on to the next chapter with good health and just trying to make your new chapter as best you can, trying to inspire in the new chapter, trying to be a better you, trying to do everything you can to make a difference in life, because that's what it's all about. It's not about standing still and feeling sorry for yourself because one career is finished. Another career can start again.
All right, Leon, it's been a pleasure talking to you today. I just want you to say sort of one final message. Anyone watching this, to all the IFL viewers, if they're struggling in life, just give them a message.
My message is to fight it, to understand where you're at, and if you're really, really, really struggling, just speak to someone that you love, speak to someone that you trust, and go and try yourself. You have to make that choice to step forward and try. When you try, you win, no matter what you do. So you have to step forward and try. And that will be the difference in your healing process and being able to get up each day to try again. Once you start trying, that's when it becomes difficult. So please keep holding on.
Leon, thank you very much for talking to IFL TV.